Your group is the first we've even considered taking in for a long time.
You should keep your gates closed.
Why?
Because it's all about survival now. At any cost. People out there are always looking for an angle. Looking to play on your weakness. They measure you by what they can take from you. By how they can use you to live. So, bringing people into a place like this now.
Are you telling me not to bring your people in? Or are you already looking after this place? Aaron says I can trust you.
Aaron doesn't know me.
Hello everyone, this is Cosmic Kitsuname, and today I'm going to be talking about the myth of the self-made billionaire. You know, over the course of my life, I have seen people talk about many things, and I'm sure you have seen videos where someone's telling you, okay, if you want to be a millionaire or a billionaire, you have to have this type of mindset, or you have to do A, B, and C, and this is the roadmap to getting to this place or that place. And many of you already know that it's BS, but I want to take the time to explain to you why. You know, there are a lot of people that have these dreams and these ideas about acquiring something. And what many fail to realize is that it starts with what you put your focus into. If you wake up every day and let's say you have a car, you don't have a car, no, everything's paid, and let's say this car is not your ideal car, it doesn't matter. It gets you from point A to point B. A lot of people take for granted the things that they already have, and they want for that which they may not even need or like in the long run. Hedonism is a major problem in modern culture because even when a person achieves all of that, oh, now I need more. I finally got this car that I wanted. Now I need to get the latest, greatest car when it comes out. It's always the latest, greatest. And that wouldn't be much of a problem if it wasn't at to one's own detriment. Everyone has things that they enjoy, hobbies, things that they're passionate about, and that's perfectly fine, so long as it's healthy and maintainable. If I had like an expensive hobby and I know that I can no longer afford that, I find another hobby or wait until I'm able to come back around to it. And knowing how to differentiate between a need and a want is extremely important. Realistically, not everyone's going to be a billionaire. Not everybody needs to be one. What you need is food, water, shelter, and as far as entertainment goes, there are many ways to get that need met. And this is what brings me into the myth of hard work. To work hard is not a bad thing at all. But when you are busting your ass and doing so for a long amount of time and you're getting nowhere like a hamster in a wheel, then it's pointless. I have seen people be this metaphorical hamster in a wheel and then talk about all the stuff that they're doing. Well, so and so is lazy. They're not doing A, B, and C. I'm like, okay, how do you know? And even if they were, if you're getting 5 from your hard work and that person is getting 3 doing nothing, you have to think about that. And when anybody gives you this speech on, oh, it's the right thing to do, shut up. Just shut up. They don't believe that, and you shouldn't either. It isn't bad to do the right thing, but when you try to use your hard work to justify you not getting anywhere, it's a cope. Most people like to be able to see the fruition of their hard work. And when you are not seeing that, then either the method is wrong or you need to change something. And you also have to think about this. Let's say somebody acquired this magic knowledge, know exactly how to be a billionaire and all this other stuff. Why in the hell would they tell you? Hell, even if someone were to give legitimate information, the chances of the average person following it very low. Some would, but then you have to be careful of getting scammed or falling into a pyramid scheme. Don't assume that you have to have X amount of money for people to want to take advantage of you. There are people that will do that anyway. There are people walking around right now who view everyone they encounter as a stepping stone. And that is a very messed up way to go about life. Some have become successful off of it, but many are not happy. You can't put a price on your general happiness. You can't have the world other people tell you about you and what you like. But a lot of people allow this to happen, and they attempt to model themselves off of something that they may even hate. Let's say you have a job that you just detest, but it makes a lot of money. You should use that to do the things that you really want to do. Because at the end of the day, money is a promise. It's the promise that you have A, B, and C. I once had someone very close to me tell me that everyone is a week away from homelessness. And they were right. Because let's say you lost everything in your bank account, just everything got wiped out. If you don't have any type of skill in anything, you're pretty screwed. This is why it helps to diversify your skill set. But don't dive too heavily in that because of this. Everyone has their strengths and weaknesses. You should work on your weaknesses in your own time, but you should also push forward with the things that you're naturally strong and gifted at. That only applies when you're younger, because as you get older, you become more set in your ways. And if you learned a series of bad habits, it is very difficult to break them. Way easier when you're a kid. There are a lot of kids who, when they were born, they were, sent to the best schools, or even if they weren't, they study hours upon hours a day. And yes, that can cause trauma and be emotionally damaging when it's just an overabundance of that, no amount of freedom. But here's the thing. If you want to be good at something, you train, you prepare for it. But you have to have incentive. If you have no incentive to be better, 9 times out of 10 you won't. This is why we have rules. There are some people that will honor a rule even if it's not enforced, and then there's others that'll break it. You should question a rule if it's stupid. But you also have to understand you have to deal with the consequences of that too. Having an honor code of some kind is very important. And it's important to have that down packed before you try to do anything. Know what you want and what you're about. Damn what other people say. Because you have to live with you. And When it comes to wanting something and wanting to be in a position, that's completely fine. But if you have no means or know how to do that, then it won't matter. For example, a lot of restaurants within 1 to 2 years upon opening, they close. This could be due to location, it could be bad planning, etc., and all other stuff. I do strongly urge people to get a trade and become an entrepreneur, but you have to have self-discipline or it won't work. If you don't have incentive or self-discipline, nothing you do is ever going to go the way you want it to go. And I remember someone making a comment saying, "Oh, that's some snowflake stuff. What do you mean if someone doesn't feel connected to something, they're not going to try as hard?" No, that's just reality. Hell, even for an overworked individual, if they don't see any incentive to life, well, you know, it's the way it go. So, how you feel does matter because it can make or break a situation. It can mean a difference between a good attitude versus a poor one. So, you have to be in a right frame of mind to do the things you want to do effectively. This is why you work on your goals and personal happiness and stuff like that. Don't ever try to derive that from some external thing, if possible. Do the things that you feel are important, but priorities. This is a clip that I like to show that I thought was pretty cool because this guy has his priorities down packed. And whether somebody would have actually gone that road or not, that was just his road. Maybe some people want a bigger house or whatever. You gotta work for it. You have to have your priorities straight. And that's not really something you could teach. Because there are a lot of people who will take advantage of the unknown, especially the young. And they don't want you to have, anything or a big house or whatever. It's too expensive in some places. So you have to live well within your means. Never try to live beyond your means. You can help it. Even for certain people that make a lot of money, they lose everything because the upkeep just isn't worth it. There's a clip.
So you think me having a Tesla and a tiny house isn't good priorities? Well, I'd like to show you around. See, this tiny house has everything I need in it. And I mean everything. Even a full-blown PC setup, a kitchen, a loft, shower, washer and dryer, everything that you have in a regular house. I have two 550-gallon tanks to catch this beautiful rainwater. I have a composting area where I don't have to pay for gray water systems, flushing, and all that. I built this garden so that way I have fresh vegetables. And because I do DoorDash in the Tesla, I practically have no overhead, and it only takes me $2 a day just to drive. And the last thing I need to do to become fully self-sufficient is have solar and wind, and that's coming within the next year.
With that being shown though, for me, I fight every day to be where I want to be and do the things I want to do because they're important. And this final clip shows the person that I inspire to be because I could have easily been the very thing said in the clip, but I went the opposite direction after meeting enough people and positive influences to keep me from such a life. Attitude is everything. Whether you have everything or nothing. And having a good sense of humor on top of that helps tremendously. Because whenever I see people flexing what they have or don't have, I just turn my brain off at that point. 9 times out of 10 it's BS. And even if it were true, what is that doing for you? And I've said that many times, and I'll keep saying it. If you are not getting some type of gain out of something, don't do it. Walk away from it. Find something you want to do. I'd rather make a little less and do something that I love to do than to make a lot of stuff like happen or make a lot of money and be absolutely miserable. Because the more you do something, the more you have to dedicate time to that. And then anytime somebody's working 15 hours at a job that makes a lot of money and it doesn't leave much room for themselves, defeats the purpose. Because you have to fight to maintain what you got. Work hard so you can have enough money to do what you want to do and not have to be under some kind of pressure behind it. And that's what truly matters. You can do so without having an unnecessary amount of stress added on you, even better. Live well, eat well, and keep your mind in the best shape you can keep it in. And hopefully you be where you need to be. But if you're not, keep going. There's no guarantees in life. And that's the mindset that people should strive to have. So anyway, I'd like to thank everyone that's watched my video. Say take care. Peace.
俺はおせっかい焼きのスピードワゴン
Robert E.O. Speedwagon has undoubtedly become one of the most beloved and respected characters in all of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure since the series' rise in popularity from its 2012 anime adaptation. But why do so many people love Speedwagon? I mean, he doesn't use Hamon, he isn't a stand user, and he could seem like a fairly average supporting character appearing in just the first 2 parts of the series, and even got on some people's nerves with his obsessive need to explain out loud everything happening around him.
今だ うまいディオの右へ回り込んだ右目は四角になっている
For some, it's only after you get more involved in the JoJo community that you come to find out people really love Speedwagon. So today we are going to take a deeper look into Speedwagon's character and the effects he had on the world of JoJo to understand why he's become the fan favorite and loved character he is today.
You like Speedwagon? What kind of man doesn't?
Everything that Speedwagon lacks in supernatural ability like being a Hamon or stand user, he makes up for with character. And a massive sledgehammer. Speedwagon was first introduced to us as a street thug residing in the most dangerous part of London, Ogre Street, which is the same place he had grown up and lived for most of his life, making crime and violence pretty much all he's ever known. Speedwagon was a victim of poor circumstances, but he didn't let his fate determine the person he would become, and against all odds, he didn't let the bad people around him make him a bad person. Although it was a necessity to do some bad things in order to survive on Ogre Street, that's why when we first meet Speedwagon, he immediately attacks Jonathan. But him and his gang are met with the force of Jonathan's resolve, and just by being kicked in the face, Speedwagon is able to determine that this man is no ordinary Ogre Street lowlife, but rather someone fighting with true purpose and for a noble cause, forever branding Jonathan as a true gentleman in Speedwagon's eyes. Meeting Jonathan was all it took to reignite the good heart within Speedwagon and inspire him to live with purpose and fight for justice. So Speedwagon, with his newfound admiration for Jonathan, decided to leave Ogre Street and accompany him in his fight against evil. For the rest of Phantom Blood, Speedwagon plays the role of a loyal ally to Jonathan, gaining even more respect for him and his family throughout the part. And even after Phantom Blood, Speedwagon continues to support the Joestar family and aid them in their battles for generations to come. As after the events of Part 1, Speedwagon destroys the Stone Mask and sends Jonathan on his way. With no desire to return to Ogre Street, Street, Speedwagon moves to America, the land of opportunity, and creates his own oil business, which successfully makes him one of the richest men in the world during the turn of the century. And with his newfound wealth, Speedwagon decides to express his good nature and better humanity by creating the Speedwagon Foundation, a multi-million-dollar organization dedicated to animal and wildlife preservation, medical and scientific research, along with a supernatural research and development department that would study all things supernatural, including vampires, pillar men, hormones, stands, and more. So even after Speedwagon's death post-battle tendency, he was still able to be an ally to the Joestars through the Speedwagon Foundation, providing them with information, protection, and supplies no matter what the situation may be or who they are. If you're a Joestar, you're a friend of Speedwagon. So for everything Speedwagon has done for the Joestar family for generations, it could almost seem questionable why Speedwagon had so much respect for Jonathan and for the Joestar family, and dedicated his life to their cause for as long as he lived and beyond. But from Speedwagon's perspective, doing what he did for the Joestar family was the least he could do to repay them for what they gave him. Jonathan was a symbol of justice that gave Speedwagon a new life. He gave him the opportunity to rise from the shadows of Ogre Street and become the good-hearted, successful, millionaire philanthropist we knew him as. So to answer the question, why do we love Speedwagon? It's because he's a good person, humble, trustworthy, and directly participated in saving the world against Dio and the Pillarmen, as well as supported every other Joestar through the Speedwagon Foundation in their respective journeys. So if it wasn't for Speedwagon meeting Jonathan on that cold winter night in London, the timeline we know today would have been completely different, and some of our favorite Joestars may have never even existed. And who knows how much more Speedwagon contributed to humanity through the Speedwagon Foundation's medical and scientific research throughout the years. So if anyone ever finds themselves questioning why so many people love Speedwagon, just remember that in the grand scale of things, Speedwagon is one of, if not the most important and impactful characters in all of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
Yeah. Zach. Kevin Bennett. Let's go. Yo, standing in the rain, but that's okay with me. I'm not concerned with getting wet, could use a cleanse. All the dirt done back in the day is stuck in my fingernails. There's no solution for messes made in the tens. Oh well, shoulder shrugging to brush it off, and they wonder how I keep cool most of the time they see in the summer. Just doing what I can do to get by, reducing the hunger. But it be laid back, smoother than butter, move undercover. I'm like nonchalant with it, doing the job I can pop it in. She putting my music on, you know she be popping it, and then we go pop again. Yeah, you already know that my lady vicious. Never felt fear until the boy was acquainted with it. Black roses, hangovers, taking shots, hand loaded. No, I ain't sober. Let me take a brief moment for the chain smokers, the outsiders with the cold shoulders, and the stray loners. Yeah, and with a stare in the face, my eyes can tell a story like the words on a page. It's all a dream, and then we off into a fairy tale place. Until then, you know I'll carry that weight. Bang, it's Bennett.
I've always felt the lack of ambition. Could see our past have been different. Was usually down for a setup to make a stack though it isn't. Thought my actions were rational. I'm not actually vicious unless you end up finding ways of getting me mixed up with them. I've been conflicted, connection within us drifted, and everything fell apart. And I love to act like it didn't. No point in trying to restart if the future's already written. I'll sweep it into the dark as a cover to keep it hidden. They're finished, and I was so sick of thinking I had an effect. Carry all these demons, there's a few that I gotta accept. Tend to feel defeated in my life, and I couldn't confess, but I never gave up. I evaded that out of respect. But I admire your threats, you shouldn't mess with the best. Really had nothing to lose, you getting tired of me yet? Just know I'm aiming at you, already handle the rest. This is the way I'ma choose, cause I'll be fine if it's death. And they told me that I gotta be safe, I got it, but it's sad to say that it's something they speak a lot of. Anything to gather a profit, figured it'd be best to just be honest, so I'll come and cop it. If you got no other option, tell it to me straight. And stayed so distant, didn't need assistance to be great. And was not one to open up to their face. When it comes to an end, it's only closure I wanted to chase. They were so fake, what more could they take? Nothing really, hope their bones break. And they always ache until they're dizzy for my own sake. Always tried to make over a milli, think I won't carry the weight, well that'd be silly.